Hello, my name's Nicole Casio, and I want to share with you my experience with the Sacrament of Confirmation that I had. I made my confirmation a little more than 10 years ago, which for some people wasn't very long ago. For me, it was almost half my life ago at this point. Um, but I really wanted to share with you the effects that this sacrament had on my life and how transformative the experience and the outpouring of the Holy Spirit has been on me. Um, Let me share with you what the Catechism of the Catholic Church actually says about the effects of confirmation and um, what the Church teaches regarding that, and that is to increase and deepen the baptismal grace that we have been given, to unite us more firmly to Christ, to increase the gifts of the Holy Spirit within us, to bond with the Church more perfectly, and to give us special strength to spread and defend the faith by our word and action, and to confess the name of Christ more boldly, and of course, to never be ashamed of the cross. When I made my confirmation, the bishop was actually my former pastor at the time. So this was a very special experience for me. He had become the bishop only a couple years prior. And as much as I probably don't remember being prepared for the sacrament, I realized I was very prepared. And the biggest way that I was prepared was because of the openness that I had in my heart to receiving the Holy Spirit and to hopefully becoming a better part of the church. When I went to receive my sacrament, I remember coming up, and Bishop Dominic, he's still known for this, when he, put the cross of the chrism on my forehead and said, "Be sealed with the gift of the Holy Spirit." It wasn't just be sealed with the Holy Spirit. He's be sealed with the Holy Spirit. He's so animate about it and so joyful about it. And even when my baby brother made his confirmation last year with Bishop Dominic, it was the same thing. That was just one thing that struck me so beautifully. It was just how joyful the bishop is administering the sacrament. But I had an experience that, at least to what I remember, I don't think anyone else had. And as he blessed me, he anointed me with the chrism, I felt sparks on my forehead. It was a very physical feeling. I felt a very physical manifestation of the Holy Spirit when I received the sacrament, and it's always stuck with me to this day, especially when I fell away from the faith and came back to the church. I always look back at that story when I made my confirmation and realize how physical it is, and to me that's very important. I'm just in general, I think, a very physical person. I think that's one of my traits, my characteristics. But I very much felt the manifestation of the Holy Spirit. I don't think I realized that that's what I was feeling at the time, and that's what I was being gifted with. But man, I really think it was, reflecting a lot of these effects of the Sacrament of Confirmation. And now that I'm older, I really see these effects within my life. I had fallen away from the church for a short period of time, especially during college. I went to public college and very liberal college in New York, and that's the way it was. But if I hadn't received the gift of the Holy Spirit, I don't think he would have led me to where I am today and through the journey that I've had up to that point. Unbeknownst to me, I guess I had been discerning all the time with the guidance of the Holy Spirit on what to do with my life. And I knew when I was 14, when I made my confirmation, that I was going to be a CCD teacher. Was exactly the way I had put it in my mind. What kind of 14-year-old comes up with being a CCD teacher? And that was maybe, yeah, probably, I believe it was probably right after I made my confirmation. I did also have a very beautiful religious education teacher at the time, a beautiful catechist who I'm still close to now. I had her for 7th and 8th grade. And I think that had some influence. Um, but then when I finally turned 18 and graduated high school after, joining some Protestant groups and spending time with those friends, I realized I was trying to search for Jesus in another church when I hadn't gone deep enough even in the gift of baptism in the church that I was born into, the Catholic Church. So out of nowhere, when I'm 18, I was driving down my street going home, and all of a sudden in the exact words, I'm going to teach CCD. And it was almost like I didn't even have to think about it. It just kind of came right from my head. It was, I didn't really say it out loud. It was more like up here, but within here. I wasn't really quite sure where it was coming from. But then I almost remembered saying, it was like I felt like I knew this was supposed to happen. It was really a calling that I felt. And then, of course, as time went on, I fell away for a while and came back, as I mentioned before. And when I came back to, coming into religious education and being a catechist, and it was just so natural for me. Um, and here I am now studying catechetics and evangelization and running a religious education program with 1,000 kids. It's so amazing, and I really believe that because of the effects of the Holy Spirit and my openness to Him, He has truly brought me into this position and really made my job and my vocation one and the same, where I can focus on Him full time and focus on the people and focus on really bringing Jesus to people. It's such a challenge, especially being as young as I am, not married with no kids. We probably will get there soon, but it's such a unique position to be in, and it's one that I certainly don't take for granted. And it's certainly one that has tied me up a lot. Between doing this and doing that, it's a lot of work. But if I hadn't received the Sacrament of Confirmation, I I think it would be a lot more of a struggle for me to do all these things. Um, and because of it, I feel like I can defend the faith in both word and action through the ministries that I'm involved in. Um, I can really confess the name of Christ because I truly feel like I have a relationship with Him. Even though it's not always perfect, I feel that. And I'm certainly not ashamed of the cross because I know that Jesus did this for me and that I'm carrying my crosses every day because of Him. And I just have to say, being a Catholic is more than just, a nice thing to do. It's because I want to strive for holiness as best as possible, and it's because I want to raise my family to also strive for holiness, and the ultimate goal is with Jesus in heaven. Amen.